This is where the world gets a little scary. JD Vance and Jeff Bezos now offering land and houses by a fraction. Hundreds of people invest in one piece of property, then they rent it out. Your income is part of that rental income. What happens when they start selling us our food by the calorie? And I'm going to bring you to the live sites as I get along on here. JD Vance funded Acre Trader. It's like Uber for buying U.S. farmland. The point is, nobody can afford 100 acres, 200 acres. Well, some can, but if you want to get a small piece of the pie, you're going to buy in on something just like this. So they'll choose a piece of farmland like you see in the background here. They'll buy it. Somebody will come in and they'll get 100 investors in on that. They'll purchase the piece of property. And as it goes up in price, they have an exit strategy of approximately 6 to 10 years. And if the price of land goes up, when you exit, you get the profit from that. It's just the expansion of a real estate investment trust, a REIT. These real estate investment trusts, most times they'll buy like 100 or 200 unit apartment complex. And with somebody, one person, yeah, they can do it, but there's few of those around the world that can buy in on 200, 300 unit apartment complex, 200 doors, 300 doors, as they say. But so they'll get a huge amount of investors to come in, hundreds, thousands, and they'll all chip in a smaller piece of that. Somebody coordinates and oversees that entire apartment complex. Who manages it, doesn't need upgrades. And then as the rents flow in there, then they have cash flow. A cash flow pays back on a certain percentage basis. Then at the end also, you could actually sell your portion back and pull back and take that as a win as well. So it's just a recurring revenue model. A lot of people are into it. It's not the newest thing around the block, but bringing on the farmland though is, and a house just for renting, also single units is, and this is where we've heard the term, you're gonna own nothing and be happy. So the cumulative return so far on different assets here, that red is the S&P 500 stock market. The green dashed line is what you're looking at. That's farmland. So that's actually outperforming the S&P on a long-term basis, looking back to 1997 on the chart here. So here we are, Acre Trader. Select the farm that's up on an offer. Then you invest into it and you can put your own calculator there and see how much you would or could invest. Now, recently funded investments, here we go. Cardwell Farm, Sage Hill Farm, and the Blue Ridge Farm. And the approximate cost for you, if you just want to jump in as one share of this farm, is $15,000. That's for one share. Same with all the different offerings. They offer forage, and then they're going to lease out that land as well. And the acreage increase in price gives you a total on this. So you get it two ways to make money on these type of deals here. So let's go over to acretrader.com, and we have the investment offerings. Interested in owning an entire farm? So if you want to take out that entire investment, but they'll oversee it for you. And if we look down at the exited investments, I mean, they've already sold this and that's already done. They've already run their course on this thing. And that IRR is just simply internal rate of return. And it shows basically over the year what the average annual growth is. And they're showing 23%. That is way above the industry standard anyway. And then I've got Arkansas row crop farm. That's getting closer. It's a little below 10% there. They've held it for 4.2 years. And you can see each one of these is its own different bucket of investment, very much like the tokenized assets we're going to begin to see, of a bucket of a stock or a bond or something's going to have its own contract as a bucket of something you can invest in. This is the direction the entire planet is moving. So I'm going to move you down to the recently funded investments. So they were asking for, and they received the amount of money that they were intending to get before they could go live on this investment here. Now, what they don't show is the actual dollar amount and the number of investors that are coming in on this. So as you scroll down, huge amount of different types of properties across different states, from North Dakota to Arkansas, Tennessee, Georgia, and everywhere in between, all the way to Indiana. 73 miles off the coast of Antarctica, and water so clean they're virtually untouched by human pollution, lives a tiny organism that researchers believe may be one of the most powerful anti-inflammatory nutrients ever discovered. It's called krill. If you've been taking fish oil for heart, joint, or memory support, there's something you need to know. Research shows fish oil is 50% less absorbable than krill oil because fish oil's omega-3s are in triglyceride form while krill oils are in phospholipid form, which is the same format your cell walls are made of. That means krill oil gets into your cells immediately. In head-to-head studies, krill oil outperformed fish oil at improving cholesterol, reducing inflammation, and easing joint pain. Native Path Antarctic krill oil is sourced from pristine Antarctic waters, contains the powerful antioxidant astaxanthin, and comes in a tiny soft gel, no fishy burps. For a special bundle offer plus free shipping, head to getkrill.com/adapt. That's GETKRILL.com/ADAPT. Try it risk-free with a 365-day money-back guarantee. Click on that link in the description box below. So this is where, we get into this gray area of what was spoken of before. You will own nothing and be happy. Is this the way we're going to move forward, where the minimum buy-in is $15,000 and then you'll own a percentage of some real estate property that will generate revenue from renting it to somebody? And that'll be the way that you generate revenue in addition to some basic income that you'll be given through, I guess, the government. Are you going to be the one renting that? Are we just all going to be renters and then we'll all just be paying each other? Is that the way to do it? And then all these firms are going to take a couple percent for management fees? Because the way I see it going out, this is the direction it's heading. Scary thing is the farmland. As long as they bring the crops to market like they were before, but once you get into that, like, hey, we grew that on private land, it's a private investment, that's our own. Now we can try to sell that as a bundled crop. A tokenized corn crop, a tokenized wheat crop is a special smart contract to somebody that was willing to pay for it and arrange shipping. And then we get into all these individualized contracts for, well, we do that already to an extent where somebody will pay to have a specific type of corn grown. I know some guys who do whiskey. They pay people to grow a specific type of heirloom old school corn just for their whiskey production. Thousands of acres, only for them. So, I mean, is this the borderline we're going to be heading over to? And then, or how are we going to buy the food at that point? If they're already talking about fractionalizing, like incredible precious jewelry, artworks, gold, everything else can be tokenized and then broken into different fractions. We got the farmland and we got the houses, what I'll talk about in a second. But calories, think about a hamburger. Your hamburger is like, let's say 2,000 calories. We buy it as one unit right now. In the future, are we going to be buying it by the calorie and there's a certain number of tokens or percentages or fractions of a token, 18 decimal points out, you're going to have to buy that we're not going to buy it as a single priced item anymore. We're going to buy it by the individual fractionalized piece. Because let's say I wanted to come and say, yo, JD, I want to buy out that thing I want to buy out those 50 acres you're growing corn. I'm going to have to buy back everybody's individual piece into one basket again before then I can pull that out as one particular value out of it. It only takes one person to say no, and then it never moves, right? And then you're going to have to bid into a bidding war to get that out as one piece. So, this way, I understand they're trying to get people in that can't afford, $200,000 down, $100,000 down. And then, make these exorbitant monthly payments because the interest rates are so high. I understand that. It's a long-term investment, 4 to 6 years, long time to wait when there's a lot of other things that are spinning up faster. But it's just the way the world is moving. And if you didn't see the DTCC, the Trust Clearing Corporation, went live with their tests, trillions of dollars got moved last week through what is now the new financial system, and it will be 100% fully live in October and November of this year. Probably didn't hear about that. The entire financial system moved ED this direction. So everything from now on is going to tokenize. And if you don't understand what that means, they take the representation of a physical good, product, stock, whatever there's value there, associate a value with it, wrap it in a smart contract, and now that liquidity can actually move around where it's hard to move a house right now. But if you wrap it in a smart contract and there's the $500,000 house, you can wrap that in. Okay, the house is worth this much, and the smart contract's out there with the equity rolling around. It's a $500,000 smart contract. The thing that attaches to it, that house, is still immovable. But the money that's in that house and the equity that's in the house can move around for investments now. They're disassociated, they're separating everything out. We are moving and have moved into a new world. It's very important to understand it. I'm still trying to learn about this every day because we have come to a one global currency as of last week. And the way we're going to move and operate in it is going to have different rules than we had in the last system. So sooner than later to understand how it goes. And this is just a part of it. I'm just bringing one smidgen, as they would say. So let's get on to Jeff Bezos and see what he's offering. Bezos-backed Arrived, that's the name of the company, launches real estate stock market platform, exactly the same style. Buy and sell shares of individual rental homes. I highlighted in blue there. So you and many in the new generation that don't have money to even put down payments down, this is a good way. Maybe you could buy 2-3 shares in the house. I mean, it doesn't offer you like a timeshare where you can go stay in it, but you'll get part of the recurring revenue on the rental. And then if the price of the house goes up double, then you sell your share back and you would have doubled your money on the input. So if you put 15,000 in, you got 30,000 back and you got money coming in on a monthly with the rental from that thing. I love the audacity of Arrive, democratize and digitize access to America's $50 trillion residential real estate market. Yeah, and that's all going on chain too. That 50 trillion, that's all going to be tokenized. So if you think you own your house, you don't. If you have anything outstanding on debt that you owed to a bank, they are now going to take that, not away from you physically, like rip it out of your fingers, but that loan, that note that's connected to you, again, they're going to rip the equity out of it. And that's going to be a value product that's going to move around to other investors because it's actually worth this much. If your house is $500,000, pay down $400,000, you just have a $400,000 smart contract of your equity rolling around somewhere that allows other people to use that money because you can't use it because that house is immovable until you sell it. They're doing with this with everything. Everything on the planet is going this direction. So, of course, our economy will probably boom again once you rip 50 trillion out and start throwing it around again as investment vehicles. And that's not even including the stock market or the bond market, which is a behemoth. I think there's 300 trillion for the bond market. They're going to tokenize everything on the planet, including the trees in our forests. This new money system that just started is this. This is the beginning of it here. So far, more than 850,000 investors have joined Arrive, investing 300 million plus in real estate, spanning 550 properties, 65 cities. It's the same exact gamification of real estate as it was for the car market, which the brilliance of Carvana, oh, that person, props to you for inventing that. So let's take a look at some of the offerings here again. Screen grab this one for you, Real Estate Income Fund. And then they have the individual offerings here, which I'll bring you to the website. We'll take a look through there. But for example, Chattanooga, which I'm semi-close to, this is the type of house that they're looking for, 3-bedroom house, whatever, and they're going to be able to get renters in there, and then that's going to be a cash flow in addition to the actual property value increasing over time. So they break it down for you. See, they're looking for about $2,300 a month to make this thing work. So whip you onto the site, buy, sell, own shares of a real estate. Yeah, you don't even own anything anymore. This is, like I say, the direction. So you can look at the homes just on the front page, 1,000 investors in this one house, 700 investors in this other house. This is the new, and no, I'm not being paid by anybody or anything on this. It is just look into the crystal ball. Here you go. You handpick your investment right online. You can look in your area, do your numbers. Can you afford this? Can you get in on a lesser price? Yes or no? And then you collect the passive income without tenant hassle, because of course they have a management company that comes in and oversees these properties. And of your percentage, you're going to, you have to know what home you're into. And then here's the biggest thing. You can access the liquidity when you need it, meaning you can take a loan against what you had put into the project. And this is where the rubber meets the road. This asset-backed loan thing is taking the world by storm. And this, again, is the way it is going to move. Now, old school money, like old money, would generally have massive portfolios of stocks. They never sold a stock. They only ever took loans against it with a never-ending maturity date on that. So some of these loans have been ongoing since the 1940s and 50s, never to be paid off. They're just paying the interest. So imagine the interest rate in like 1959 or something. And all of these stocks continue to go up. So remember, Coca-Cola used to be $1. Split, 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 and suddenly you got millions of dollars worth of Coca-Cola. You just take loans against that. And they're paying dividends every year as well. And this is the way the wealthy used to operate solo. Nobody was really in their club unless you had a certain amount of stock, some shares here. It had, I think it was $750,000. Then you could start to participate in the programs. Well, that is no longer. And you see this with crypto. There's all these offerings out there, all these Bitcoin-backed loans from different companies. Hey, give us your Bitcoin. You could take anywhere from 20 to 60% of the value of it and just pay the interest. And then as hopefully it goes up in price over the years, you can just keep paying off the loan and getting new loans. That's what they're trying to sell now to the general public. But then here's another whole nother layer where you can get it if you're involved in some of these real estate investment tokenized projects. Because see, you don't own anything. It's just numbers on a screen, so they can offer you value against it. Now, if the property were to drop and you weren't able to continue to maintain that margin, they would just swoop your shares out of it too, like they would. That's why a lot of people are there, yeah, get 60, 50% on your Bitcoin loan. Well, what if it drops like 50% like it did in 2025 on that overnight flash crash? You would have been liquidated and they would have had your Bitcoin for a 50% discount. So beware of this lending thing. I know this is the way the old money did it, but yeah, they had the stocks behind it. They were very careful with it. In the new world, they're trying to get everybody to throw everything against the kitchen sink that'll stick to take money out of it. Because if the prices go down, you lose that asset. It's going to be an asset stripping exercise here moving forward. Be ultra careful if you're going to participate in any types of loans against your digitized and tokenized assets. That's the type of house you can get. And this seems to be the target that they are either building to rent, exactly built to rent neighborhoods, or they're purchasing this and keeping it off the market. And you can see eventually that if this type of business continues, then most real estate that is now a glut and can't be sold will be slowly gobbled up. So we've hit this valley, this trough, where I watch a lot of videos, not really into the real estate myself, except the property I own, but people are saying, and the real estate world is saying, that they can't sell houses, prices keep coming down, and I get it. There's a glut on the market at the moment, but with these types of projects, they're in their infancy. And Bezos is in on it, so a bunch of others are going to follow on that same business model. And eventually, this glut of homes is going to be bought up. And then have you noticed that the standardized rent seems to be around $2,300-$2,400? Is that going to be, are they going to be setting industry standard rents across the United States because they own so many tens of thousands of properties? This is the question. And, it's so interesting that the world's moved this direction where you're going to tokenize and own a fraction of something. But again, we were warned, we were told this was going to happen. Klaus had let the own nothing out of the bag back in the day. But I want to bring you to one last one here. This is Patek Philippe $5 million watch. But as all good tokenized things, you can own a fraction of it. Now accessible at, you got to get this, 0.0000006 stellar lumens. Okay, one stellar lumen right now is selling for about 20 cents. Yeah, you're going down into like 10,000th of a stellar lumen there. But again, you can still own part of it. Now, this is interesting. Look at the marketplace. They're doing this for hundreds of watches. Stellar makes the impossible ownable. Own the luxury watches. And currently, there's 75 billion that are waiting to come in under the luxury watch market of rare and luxury watches. And you can be part of that for just literally pennies. This is like penny stock gambling, in my opinion. If you're going to look at a watch and go, all right, it's 5 million now. I'm going to put a couple dollars worth in and hope that it goes up 10x and it's worth 50 million, and I'll take my $2 and turn it into 20. It's exactly what this is. This fractionalized gambling thing is, it is the future. This is the way it's going because they need you to do that. The new monetary system requires that everything be broken up, fractionalized, and nobody will own anything. If you notice, that's the direction it's moving. And that is the new system that we've just started as of last week. You can check out my live videos. I did a couple videos on the DTCC, starting with that, and all the money that moved from every bank you've ever heard of in the United States moves stuff across these frictionless tokenized rails last week. Trillions of dollars worth of transactions went through just to make sure their systems were interoperable. That was the whole thing, is they swap all through all these banks, and they moved an enormous amount of different types of investments to make sure they could move smoothly. Now the only thing they need to test is a downturn in the market, like a super crazy crash, to make sure it works on the downside too. Great when the things are stable, great when things are increasing in price. Not so good when there's a market crash across the planet. Test that out here soon, see what happens. I talk about the food all the time, talk about the climate, how the shifts are, and the cycles, that sort of thing. We're at that point of, it's already known that the cycles have changed enough to affect food production. Now, everything through history, it's always when that food gets knocked out first, the economy shifts. Then the civilization greatly changes after those two get hit first. Then we have the overall arching umbrella that gets rocked. We're in the second step now. Beginning of the channel was all about bringing you these changes climatically, showing you that a shift was here enough to dent in food production. Once we got there, the economy was going to roll next. So if you've seen it move from climate over to economy, that is exactly the reason it is, because we're in the second phase. I can talk till I'm blue in my face about it, but you can already see it yourself how many things changed. Nothing's stable anymore climate-wise. Now we're into the economy-wise, and it's becoming completely unstable too. If they need to go to this system to save the system, we got a serious problem. But everything on the planet has moved this direction. Every central bank, everything. From the clearinghouses to the banks that are international settlements, it's the central bank for all central banks, the International Monetary Fund, World Bank, every bank in America, every bank in every country on the planet is moving into this new system by December and November of this year. We are in a new monetary. This is a one global currency that just started, and as all good things, you're going to need to grow your own food because you're going to be buying food by the calorie. Imagine the money you could save if you're growing your own. You have to buy one leaf of lettuce at a time now versus a bag. This is the direction we're going. This is why you probably want to grow your own food. Just saying. Do appreciate you watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Please share with your friends and family. Share this amongst others. You can cut it up in small pieces into shorts, but it is important we get everybody on board with the conversation, because you're going to get this new monetary system is going to shock and awe out of the blue if you don't at least understand the beginnings of it and what's changing. So I'll see you next time. Bye for now.